4-0, you're still through to the next round. I mean, so you don't really, the job's done, isn't it? Once you, 4-0 in the Premier League, this job done in the first half.
A 4-0 win is always a positive result, but the real question here isn't just the scoreline. It's what this performance means going forward. Yes, some people will say, relax, it's only Wigan, and that's a fair point. But in cup football, the most important thing is doing the job professionally, finishing it early, and managing your squad properly. And that's exactly what happened here.
Alone, you're playing a team from League One, you know what I mean? So it was a perfect day for him.
Almost perfect. Calafiori going out of the warm-up is a bit...
Yeah.
From my perspective, this was almost the perfect day. The match was basically wrapped up in the first half, which meant key players didn't have to push themselves unnecessarily. When you've got crucial league fixtures coming up, especially big must-win matches, being able to rotate and still win comfortably is a massive advantage. This is how strong teams manage their seasons, not just winning games, but controlling workloads.
A bit of a concern.
We need to look, I think Arsenal need to stop warm-ups.
No
more warm-ups, right? We just come out and play. You know what I mean?
No, you know football well like that.
How many more players are going to get?
Now, of course, the only negative talking point is the warm-up injury concern. Seeing players pick up knocks before the game even starts is always worrying, especially when the schedule is getting tighter. But one encouraging sign this season is the squad depth. There are enough quality options available that the team doesn't need to force anyone back too quickly or take unnecessary risks. That's a huge difference compared to seasons where 1 or 2 injuries could completely disrupt momentum.
Injured in a warm-up, man. It was Calafiori, Saka, Saliba. Seriously, man. Honestly, the amount of play. Maybe they should announce
Stop warm-ups.
Overall, this result wasn't about scoring 7 or 8 goals. It was about efficiency. Win the game, conserve energy, rotate the squad, and move into the next round without drama. With big matches on the horizon, performances like this could quietly play a major role in keeping the team fresh, confident, and ready for the challenges ahead.
That pitch was like they were playing Hackney Marshes. It was awful, right? And they were taken all the way. They only won 1-0. They played their literal first team because obviously they're going.
Now this is where it gets even more interesting heading into Wednesday. While Arsenal had a comfortable afternoon, Wolves were away battling on a terrible pitch, grinding out a narrow win with their full-strength side. That matters, because when you're fighting relegation, you don't rotate. You go all in. So physically and mentally, they've had a much tougher day. For Arsenal, there are no excuses now. Fresh legs, no major injuries, confidence high. Wednesday has to be a statement performance. Now let's talk.
Because they know they're going to get relegated. Yeah. So it's been absolutely perfect. There's no excuses for us going into that game on Wednesday. But yeah, so today went well.
Well, let's talk about
what really stood out. The clean sheet and individual performances. Some fans wanted more goals in the second half, but honestly, the clean sheet was more important. When you're approaching the business end of the season, defensive stability wins you games. You don't need to chase 5 or 6 goals when the job is already done. Game management is key. Control, discipline, focus. That's what separates contenders from pretenders.
Goes into, which will be Wednesday, the players' performances. Does it boost confidence? Before we do that, would you have wanted, because your brother said the same thing, I wish we got 5, I wish we got more in the second half. Would you wanted more goals in the second half?
And then there's easy. 2 assists, 2 quality, creative passes, and more importantly, confidence. After being questioned, after being subbed previously, that's the response you want. People will say it's only Wigan, but it's not about the opponent. It's about sharpness, decision-making, and mentality. You could see he was hungry, trying to get on the ball, trying to make things happen.
Kept a clean sheet. What was more important to you? A clean sheet.
Clean sheet's more important. Yeah, in an ideal world, listen, I all the goals that I was sitting in a different seat today. All the goals are down.
Big question now. Does he start on Wednesday? For me, yes. Because momentum matters. If a player shows that level of creativity and confidence, you reward it. Of course, it'll be tougher against a Premier League side. Less space, more pressure, but that's exactly when you need players who can unlock defenses. This performance wasn't just about progressing in the cup. It was about building rhythm at the perfect time. And heading into a must-win week, Arsenal looked prepared.
bought as a squad player, and he's proven to be an excellent squad player. Zubimendi's been bought to start games, win games, to be decisive in games, and he has been. So
another big takeaway from this game is something that championship-level teams always have: depth and reliability across the squad. When certain players aren't starting regularly, the real test is whether they can step in and still deliver high-level performances. And today, we saw exactly that.
At the moment, I'm happy with what's going on. Just because, you don't have to play players for the sake of playing a player. And I do think his time,
Look at the midfield situation. When your main starter has been performing at an outstanding level all season, it naturally limits opportunities for others. But what impressed me was how the squad players, when called upon, didn't just fill positions, they actually contributed with confidence. That's the difference between having players who simply cover roles and players who are genuinely ready to influence matches whenever needed. It gives the manager tactical flexibility, and it keeps competition inside the squad strong.
What he's showing us is that if he is going to be called upon, we can see as fans that he can step into the void. He can step in and we'll be confident.
The same applies to players returning from injuries or playing slightly different roles. Sometimes fans focus too much on whether a player is in his usual position, but matches like this are about rhythm, getting minutes, touching the ball often, building confidence again. When big fixtures arrive, those small confidence-building performances become extremely valuable.
Players like that in the Arsenal team, Nkapie showed that. He showed that he can come, step in, because Calafiori at the start of the season was arguably our best player.
Yeah.
And that's why this stage of the season is so important. The pressure is rising, the fixtures are getting tougher, and every player, starters and squad options, will be needed. Teams that succeed in the second half of the season aren't just the ones with the best starting 11. They're the ones where the entire squad is ready to step up when the moment comes.
Agreed.
And he's been so injured recently, but Nkapie's coming. I thought even like, for instance, the other night against Brentford, he's probably the best player on it. He was brilliant. Yeah. So, it's about these...
So overall, beyond the goals and the result, what this performance really showed is that multiple players are finding form at exactly the right time. And heading into the decisive part of the season, that could make a massive difference.
Yeah, and then finally, just quickly before we go then, happy with how Arteta's doing so far. He's through in the Champions League, top of the Premier League, Champions League was top of that, through to around the FA Cup, obviously with 4-0 win in a final.
Now looking ahead to the next round, this is where strategy becomes important. Of course, fans dream about big ties, Liverpool away, City away, those blockbuster games. But realistically, with the schedule we've got, the smart choice is a favorable home draw against a lower league side. No disrespect to teams like Norwich or Mansfield, because cup football is unpredictable, but if you get one of those at home, it gives you control. It gives you the chance to rotate again, manage minutes, and still progress.
Fans won't be saying that they'll be getting angry at certain performances, obviously dropping points at the draw at Brentford, but are you kind of standing with a level head and saying, guys, look where we are, just enjoy the journey?
So far, listen.
Away games are always trickier. The atmosphere changes, the pressure rises, and suddenly it's not as straightforward. So from a squad management perspective, a Kinder draw makes complete sense. When you're competing on multiple fronts, you have to think long-term, not emotionally. And that brings us to the bigger picture, the manager.
He needs to win something this season.
100%.
We all know that. He needs to get us over the line, right? But so far, how can you argue with what we're doing? We're in 4 competitions, right? And probably...
Right now, the team is competing in multiple competitions, sitting strongly in the league, progressing in Europe, and moving forward in the cup. You can't ignore that. Yes, there have been frustrating moments, dropped points, performances that didn't fully convince. But look at the overall trajectory. This is not a team struggling for identity. This is a team competing at the highest level consistently.
We're probably favourites for this. Yeah. We're probably favourites for the league. We're favourites
for the
just about for the Carabao Cup, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, and I heard people saying, well.
However, and this is important, progression must now turn into silverware. Competing is one thing. Winning is another. At some point, you have to get over the line. That's the next step in the evolution of this squad and this manager. The foundations are there. The squad depth is there. The mentality is growing. Now it's about delivering when it matters most.
With the record that we've had in the Champions League, we're the favourites. Now, favourites don't mean you win it.
Of course.
He's got to get us over the line in something, you know what I mean? I think specifically the league.
Because at this stage of the season, the pressure isn't a problem, it's a privilege. And if this team truly wants to be remembered, they have to turn this strong position into trophies.